Okay, so I've gathered all of my items from the house. I brought them outside to my little table that I'm going to be working at out here. So I've lit my sage using my little candle there, and I'm just going to cleanse my entire space. I took the lids off my bottles, and I've got my mortar and pestle here. Got the whole bowl. Just gonna cleanse the whole bowl. And I've got my jar that I'm gonna be using. I did cleanse the jar with soap and water. So the next thing I want to do is actually put my own breath into the bottle. And then I'm gonna cleanse my bottle as well. I'm gonna get all that sage in there as much as I can. Maybe kind of stick it all the way in. There you go. Look at it. Isn't it beautiful? Alright. Then I'm going to close it up. Just make sure that I cleanse, my hands. Get the smoke on my hands. A lot of your hands do a lot of work, right? A lot of energy, a lot of sending and receiving energy through your hands. So you want to just make sure we cleanse our hands. I really like to just take it all in. But just cleanse my whole body. Usually I'm standing, but that's okay. For the sake of the video, I'll just sit. Just do a quick cleanse. Make sure you're cleansing behind you. You don't know what kind of energy you carry behind you. So just bring that sage all the way around. Right? And so now our space is cleansed. So then the next thing that I like to do is also open a circle. Now, that's a whole nother video and a whole nother thing all on its own. Alright, so I have opened my circle. I have created that sacred space. So now I'm going to go ahead and get started with making my protection oil. So I'm going to move the camera just a little bit. Alright, so as you can see, I've got all kinds of herbs here. And of course, when I was making my list of herbs, as you saw in the beginning of the video, I only included like 5 herbs. But I quickly changed my mind once I got into my cabinet and saw all of my options. So my point in the beginning for only adding 5 herbs was because I really only wanted to include fire, air, water, and earth as my elements, and then spirit as my 5th element that I wanted to just pull into this protection oil. Of course, when I opened my apothecary, saw all my herbs, I quickly changed my mind and wanted to add this and that and the other. It's kind of like when you go into Target, right? When you have your list, but then you walk in and you see all these other things that of course you need right now. So that's kind of what happened. But you do not have to do that at all. When you start to do your blending of your herbs, you don't even need to have herbs. If you're not called to use herbs, don't use herbs. Just use oil. I've got dragon's blood here that I'm going to be adding to my protection oil. Just do whatever feels right for you. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't do what you see me doing. Just do what feels right. I've got mullein leaf. I don't know if this is ever gonna, but this is mullein leaf. Mullein. You can say it different ways. I love mullein leaf. This is like graveyard dust, which is actually like fitting for this time of year. Anyway, it banishes evil and negativity. Then I've got agrimony here. Agrimony is a great protection oil. It reverses any evil sent your way. Very protective. And then I've got, let's see, angelica root, of course. So angelica root is for any exorcism or protection. It's a strong protectant. Angelica root. Every time you see anything to do with protection, you're almost always going to see angelica root and agrimony. Those are almost always the first things that people like to add to their protection oils, protection spells, anything like that. So the next thing I have here is some bay. So bay, of course, is great for protection, wards off negativity and evil. So I'm going to go ahead and crush up my bay. It's great for removing curses and hexes as well. And then the next thing I'm going to do is actually write my petition. I'm going to do something a little differently this time around for writing my petition. I've got a Sharpie. I've got one of those double Sharpies where you got the thick end and the thin end. I'm going to use the thin end to actually write my petition down on my bay leaf. And so I'm going to just take a minute to do that. And so here I've written my petition on my bay leaf. Now that's something I don't normally do. Normally I would write it down on a piece of paper, but I just wanted to kind of do it a little differently. Since this is an oil, I wanted to kind of just incorporate my petition into the oil itself. And so that's what I did. I'm going to go ahead and just concentrate on my intentions, since this is my petition, before I place it into my herbs. I'm just going to crush this. Drop it into my bowl here. And so now I've got a little bit, kind of see my herbs here. I'm not quite done yet. The other thing that I added that wasn't on my list originally is my cascadia. Like, how can you make a protection oil without adding cascadia, right? You have to. So I'm gonna go ahead and add, and this I actually made myself. It's so easy. It's just crushed shell. You know, once you make eggs, just keep the shell, let them dry out, and then crush them up, and there you've got cascadia. Or you can buy it at any kind of metaphysical shop. So then, of course, now I have a video on when I made this black salt. So I love this black salt. Like I said, I made a video on it, and I actually made a video on all protection herbs. Many more herbs I included in that video than what's here. So if you're looking for other options than what I've got, check that video out. So anyway, I'm gonna add my black salt. Black salt is great. Salt can charge you, can remove negative energy, and can kind of strengthen your auric bond. And then black salt is super protective as well. So I want to kind of add quite a bit of my black salt here. And I want to mix that up. Now, one important ingredient to your magic is always something unique, something that you came up with, something that nobody else would be adding to theirs, right? So the one thing that I'm going to add to mine that no one else will be adding to theirs is my Samhain herbs from, you can't really see them. Smells amazing. I love that smell. It takes me right back to that day. But these are the herbs that I created last Samhain on that day. So this is super important to me. I believe it was last year, right, that Samhain occurred during a full moon. So I definitely made a whole herb blend to work with for as long as I have these. So I'm incorporating that energy into my protection oil. These were crafted in that moon, and then they sat under that moon, so it's beautiful. So that's my own creation that I'm going to be adding to my protection oil. So I'm going to just go ahead and mix these up. And then an important part of, how can I put this right here? So an important part of working with herbs is to make sure that you are blessing your herbs, you're enchanting your herbs, and you are thanking them for what you're asking them to do for you. And so I like to do that by kind of getting my hands in there. So just thanking my herbs, bringing in my energy, enchanting them. And that's it. So look at my fingers, nice and dark from that black salt. Okay, so the next thing is my beautiful bottle. Still has a little smoke in it, has my breath in it. It's beautiful. So, before I forget though, I do not want to forget to add a Labradorite chip. So Labradorite, I would have probably liked to use some obsidian chips, but I don't have obsidian chips. And I could just get a clear quartz chip and kind of incorporate or kind of program that quartz chip to, look at the first one that came out. Look at this. It almost has, okay, hold on. How nice and dark that chip is that came out. I don't know, it's like super dark. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to use this Labradorite chip and for protection. I'm going to just pull on its protective qualities. It has so many qualities. Labradorite is a beautiful stone that can be used for so many things, and protection is one of them. So I'm just going to pull on those protective qualities. Alright, I'm going to place that into my jar. And then I've got my herbs, and so this might be a little bit difficult to do quite like this. I might have to, I might be okay. We'll see. If I have issues, I'll make changes. Oh, it's good. It all went in. It went in just fine. So there it is at the bottom. And what I want to do, I think I want to add just a little more black salt. Alright. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just add my oil. I'm just using olive oil, just perfect. It's an anointing oil, and I will be anointing myself with my protection oil, anointing myself, anointing my items. I'm going to close this up. I'm going to give it a good shake, get everything kind of moving in there. Now I'm making this under the waning moon, which is a perfect moon to make protection. Anything to do with pulling away negativity, kind of anything to do with pulling things away from you, pulling people away from you, anything away from you, you want to do under a waning moon. And that's what we are under. It would be better if it was at night too, but I just felt like doing it now. Now the other thing that I'm going to be adding to this oil is a little bit of my first batch of my protection oil, kind of just from that mother batch, adding it into this one so that that energy continues. Now that oil I did make just past midnight under a waning moon, and it felt powerful. That one really had a really amazing feel to it, but I was excited to just make a little bit more because I need a little bit more. So move my camera. And so there you've got a beautiful protection oil. Hold on, you seem super close. There you are. Okay, better. Alright, so there you go. You've got a beautiful protection oil. Okay, so now I have closed my circle, and one of the last things that I always do after I have closed my circle and finished my work is blow out my candle. So I will do that with you now. And there you have it. I have completely finished all of my work here. I really hope you enjoyed making protection oil with me, if you were making it with me, or at least I could maybe give you some great ideas for making protection oil. And if you have any questions or any comments, just leave them below. I answer every comment people leave on my page. And but yeah, that's it. I look forward to making more videos. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things here, but yeah, thanks for sticking with me, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye.